Meg's a wonderful leader, and she used to talk to us a lot about this notion of build it, use it, fix it.
Yeah.
Believe in, but get it to 80%. Don't seek perfection, because if you seek perfection, you'll hang with it far too long. And then don't be so married to your idea, that you can't move off it, you can't evolve it, you can't change it. And so we talk to the team a lot about this idea of let's fall in love with the concept, measure it once again, measure it, go back to it, refine it. We don't have to feel like if it's not perfect, we can fail fast and we can refine it. And I think it's a really sound business principle that we've adopted. Actually, through this Texas transformation we went through in the last year, I'd say it's one of the core principles of design. And I could point to multiple examples where just the last 2 months was, you know what, it's going well, but tweak this. And that whole build it, use it, fix it mentality, I think is very effective in that sense.
Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of our podcast, McKinney Momentum, brought to you by the McKinney Economic Development Corporation. I'm our marketing manager, Luke Gajari, and just as a reminder, this is our show where we talk about all things McKinney. We'll even branch out into Collin County, talk about why McKinney, why now, hear from business leaders, community partners, nonprofits, all of the above. So I encourage you to follow, like, subscribe on whatever platform you get your podcasts, and stay tuned for what's coming up next. Today, I'm joined in the studio by Rudy DiPietro, the president of Kroger Texas. So Rudy, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us. A pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, you guys are everywhere. I feel like every 10 minutes I read about a new Kroger popping up. So I'm excited to dive into this and talk about the way you guys are not only a great grocery retailer, but community partner and engaged in the backyards you're in. So let me just kick it off to you right away. Can you introduce yourself? Tell me about your journey to where you're at now, and then kind of the backstory of how you got involved with Kroger.
Yeah, would love to. So Rudy DiPietro, and once again, Kroger Texas is comprised of 207 stores. We operate 200 in Texas and actually 7 in Louisiana, and we're very proud of that 7 in Louisiana and want to grow there too. So I'm originally from Maine, actually. I grew up in the Northeast. And started in the grocery industry right at college, actually. Started with a company called Ajo Delays and kind of worked my way through that industry over a couple decades, and primarily as an operator, and learned the business kind of fundamentally in stores, how to run a store, baking bread and cutting meat, and just kind of grew up in that side, and then got some experience on the category side of the business for the better part of a decade. And then actually I'm new to Kroger. So I came into Kroger back in April of last year.
Okay.
Initially in Dallas, and then back in August of last year, we actually brought Dallas and Houston together into one division, kind of unified that and transformed that. We could talk about that maybe later. But, and I'm also a father, and that's something I'm really proud of. My wife, Cassandra, and I have 3 children.
Nice.
And so we're raising kids here in Texas, which has been a joyful experience also.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've got 3 kids as well.
It's a great experience.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Challenging also.
It's awesome. I haven't had a good night of sleep in 11 years, but it is what it is. Man, this is cool. So Kroger is obviously it's so much more than just a grocery store. So how do you articulate what Kroger is, the mission? Could you give me like an elevator pitch if I'd never heard of Kroger, which I hadn't until I moved to Texas.
Yeah.
So I grew up on Wegmans, Redner's, ShopRite, right? Okay. So then we moved to Texas, and now there's Kroger, Tom Thumb, H-E-B. Sure. So break down, I've never heard of Kroger. What do you do? What's the kind of signature sauce behind Kroger's success?
Kroger's origin story really started on Pearl Street in Cincinnati. And from the moment Barney Kroger kind of started that business, it was about being particular. It was about being particular about quality. It was about offering great value and offering things, and maybe on the fresh side of the business that were unique. So maybe fresh in-store bakery maybe was a great example of what that looked like. And so obviously from that moment forward today, where we have 2,700 stores across the enterprise, across the country, different brands through acquisition, and it's evolved, it's changed. The industry has changed, but I think the fundamentals are very much the same. For me, it starts with our people. I think we have the best people in the industry. And we talk a lot about our people, our leaders, the service that our associates can offer our customers as the biggest differentiator of anything we could do in the business. The business has obviously changed and evolved. And I think when you think about e-commerce as an example, today versus even 10 years ago, That's very different, right? The way you can engage with us across different modalities of the business, whether it's pickup, our partners on the Instacart side of things and DoorDash and those partners, there's a lot of ways to engage with Kroger. Ultimately, though, whether you're doing pickup or we're bringing it to your store or to your house, or you're shopping in store with us, it's about the experience, right? It's someone special at my store that brings me back every day.
Yeah.
On top of that, I would say value is as important as ever. And I think that's something that we're particularly great at. And we strive to get better and better. But no matter your economic status as a customer, value is incredibly important. Today, maybe more important than ever. And we offer value across all facets of the business. What's unique about Kroger today, in Texas specifically, zeroing in on that, we have 165 fuel stations, right? And you think about the value that you earn by being a loyal Kroger shopper and how that returns you value in your fuel experience, right? And that whole, kind of loyalty program that we offer is, I think, very unique. So people, value, and then once again, being particular about fresh experiences. We have a very high bar for quality. So it starts in produce, obviously. And I think it goes across the entire store. A lot of integrity around value and a lot of integrity around what you find for quality. And so we're particular. And we'll continue to be, and we're really looking to ramp that up as we go forward here.
And I think sometimes people equate value with poor quality. Like value means cheap or, but I remember even that founding, the founder's vision for being particular comes across even in one of the store brands. I think it's called Private Selection. Like I'll never forget some of the best ice cream I ever had was a Moose Tracks Private Selection pint of ice cream that I intended to eat half of and just inhaled the whole thing. The Private Selection brand embodies that. I mean, even the word selection, we are particular about what we select to represent the Kroger brand. And that's, it's evident.
I love that. I think you're exactly right. And I think value as a proposition means different things for different people in different moments. I know for my wife, convenience is really important. I think for a lot of busy parents, convenience is really important. So it might be that you're willing to pay a little more for, say, cut fruit because, it's cut in store. You don't have to manage that at home and it saves you time so you can get to the things that are more important for you. But sometimes value means I need the absolute lowest price on this item I buy a lot of. And we try to offer all of that. And I'm also I agree with you, very proud of our private brand portfolio from the house brand, Kroger brand, to Private Selection, to Simple Truth, which is really our clean, organic kind of line. We offer incredible private brands, and we also are vertically integrated in many categories where we actually have manufacturing plants across the country that are making these products. And our ability to flex flavor profiles, to flex sizes, to really be on trend with all the flavors that consumers look for today is something that's very unique to Kroger. The other thing, to get back to your question around what makes us special and unique, we do offer, and actually McKinney's a great example of it. Today we have a marketplace in McKinney, right? We have a big format that has apparel, that has hard goods and general merchandise that maybe you wouldn't find, certainly in many traditional
small
appliances.
appliances.
Small appliances, kitchen appliances, right? All the things. It's more of a one-stop shop than maybe you would encompass drive-through pharmacy, right? We talked about fuel already, a pickup service. So that I think is very unique and different than what you find with most traditional grocers in our space. And it helps us compete with those that have, a different format than most. So
that's something we talk about a lot in McKinney. In fact, the city's official tagline was unique by nature. Not only are we surrounded by nature, we preserve a lot of natural components to our parks and trails and all that. But we also want to be unique as an identifier of who we are in the midst of a DFW Metroplex, right? So that connects and resonates that, hey, we're going to pioneer something different in the grocery space that's set apart, a little more high quality, a little more one-stop shop than you would maybe expect from Kroger of the 80s that you grew up going to as a kid. So you guys are killing it. And I'm curious, why McKinney? Let's talk about Collin County. Like, why McKinney? Why now? What's happening in this region? All the way up to Anna. Like, I'm curious about y'all's kind of finger on the pulse of what's happening in McKinney, why you're a part of it, even if you want to touch on ways that you engage with the community as an organization.
We have roughly 100 stores in DFW today. And in our industry, we chase rooftops. That's kind of the way you grow. And I would say we're well capitalized, and our partners at Kroger Store Support in Cincinnati understand the potential and the opportunity here. So Collin County, McKinney fits that profile perfectly, right? So we see the households coming. Also, super encouraging that we already have a store base here. We already have a loyal customer who understands Kroger to a degree. And this is really contiguous growth, on top of what we've already have. So we're looking to develop anywhere we can follow those health stops, anywhere we can embed ourselves in the community and really help shorten the commute for a customer to get what they need. We want to be part of that growth, and we're prepared for it. Today, it's really exciting. So we have 5 stores in some phase of construction right now in DFW.
Wow.
And we have a lot more to come behind that.
Yeah.
As I said, we intend to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in Texas in the years to come. But the focus right now is in DFW. And to your point, Collin County, McKinney fits in that profile. Absolutely perfect. I would also say very diverse, growth, right? So we're seeing, we already have incredible depth of Hispanic community. We're seeing Asian demographic grow at a rapid rate, and we are prepared to serve that customer. So we have right now a test store in Plano that has an entirely different assortment approach to better serve that customer.
Yeah, wow.
I think that's a competitive advantage for us.
That's huge. That's my favorite aisle of a grocery store is the Asian and ethnic food aisle, because that is some of our favorite food to cook as a family. And so it's cool to say, hey, we're not only going to just make this an aisle that with a few more products on it, we're going to actually overhaul this whole section of the store to give it the experience that this demographic deserves.
You say something too that I think is interesting about that opportunity. It's not just serving that expanding, demographic with some of the foods they recognize from their childhood, but it's also for foodies.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I love to explore foods, try different foods from all over the world. And we're trying to help make that easier. Not always have to have that be an out-of-home eating experience.
Yeah.
A lot of that can happen in your own element. So we're trying to serve that and bring some new, different, unique. And I would say every time we drop those SKUs into a store, they tend to take off.
Yeah.
Some really kind of exciting examples of that.
Yeah. And I think too, food is one of the best ways to explore a culture. Like that's how you connect with a culture a lot of times is through a meal, but then also through their flavors. I married into a Hispanic family. My family origin is Eastern European, but I got to know ancho chilies and all the spicy foods of the Hispanic flavors through the family I married into. And that has introduced me to the culture from spicy food to spicy personality, right? Hope my wife doesn't watch this. But I think that's so important to understand that our friends and neighbors and what their cultures are, and we can engage with their food through the experiences that Kroger's offering. So that's massive. Yeah. Let me talk about a little bit of your kind of background. I'd love to just get some kind of business advice or things that you would maybe suggest to yourself if you had to go back in time and talk to, let's say, you 3 years ago. Well, what are some advice you would give yourself as you've been on this career journey as a leader in this space?
Yeah, being a simplifier is something that's kind of hard to come by in our industry. If you think about what it takes to run a retail store, an individual store is complex. When you zoom out and you're responsible for 200 plus across lots of different territories, it's really easy to complicate things, have a long set of competing priorities. And to some degree, it's necessary. Like to some degree, you have to have refined project plans that have actions and follow-up dates and measurement. And, you have to kind of fail fast and adjust. But ultimately, I like to kind of live in the space of the rule of 3. Like I try not to bring more than 3 substantial things into any, conversation.
Wow.
Because if you start stacking beyond that, it becomes overwhelming and it ultimately diminishes, what you can actually accomplish on a given day, week, month. So, and when you're in a big matrix, organization like ours that's publicly traded, that has a lot of pressures, there tends to be multiple inputs on what you need to be focused on. Yeah. And so I think my role is to help simplify that for my team. A very wise leader told me once, when you're working in this type of environment, there's kind of gears, right? There's this big gear system, and the ultimate end, receiver is a retail associate or a leader. And a very small turn at the top turns that bottom gear in a massive way. And so be very cautious of the things that you do to turn that top gear. Make sure you're careful and thoughtful. So being a simplifier, I think, is probably one thing. The other thing I really try to live by is build it, use it, fix it. Meg Hayam, who's probably one of my most favorite leaders I ever worked for. She was the president of Food Lion.
Oh, yes.
You may have heard of them.
Yeah, they're big Michigan, right?
Food Lion's big in North Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
Meg's a wonderful leader, and she used to talk to us a lot about this notion of build it, use it, fix it.
Yeah.
Believe in get it to 80%. Don't seek perfection, because if you seek perfection, you'll hang with it far too long. And then don't be so married to your idea, that you can't move off it, you can't evolve it, you can't change it. And so we talk to the team a lot about this idea of let's fall in love with the concept, measure it once again, measure it, go back to it, refine it. We don't have to feel like if it's not perfect, we can fail fast and we can refine it. And I think it's a really sound business principle that we've adopted. Actually, through this Texas transformation we went through in the last year, I'd say it's one of the core principles of design. And I could point to multiple examples where just the last 2 months we said, you know what, it's going well, but tweak this. And that whole build it, use it, fix it mentality, I think is very effective in that sense.
I love, man, there's so much. We could have a whole other spinoff episode of just that conversation, because get it to 80% and ship it, get it out the door is huge. And then the idea of fail fast, don't fail, because that will happen. Failure will happen. Just do it quickly and then move on. It's like, I think Facebook, it was their mantra in the early days. It was on all their walls and signage and business cards and all that. Move fast and break things, because the only way to learn is to break something and fix it. So, and you are speaking my language right now. I want to unpack a little bit of that Texas. You talk about the redefining the Texas region and expanding what that looked like. You touched on it briefly just now. Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So Texas transformation was a really big bet for us when we realized we were going to be unifying 2 divisions. We essentially had 2 of everything, which is great. I would say starting point was we had an incredible amount of talent. And the first principle was this is a mindset of growth, right? We're not reorganizing this organization for the benefit of the bottom line. Like, this is actually about how do we take advantage of all this talent we have and reposition it and for growth, a mindset of growth. And so it started with really talent identification, as you would always, and determine who you had, kind of on the roster. And then we thought about where we needed to accelerate, right? And we wanted to become more specialized, right? So we had some redundancy, right? 2 people doing the same thing, just in different regions. So we immediately said that, largely we'll kind of get out of that and then to some degree, take that extra headcount and put it in a place that matters. So we'll give you a couple of examples. One, local, we think, is a big bet, right? And the insight there for me is when we study the Texas customer, they tell you that, one, they want anyone they engage with from a business standpoint to be authentic. I'm sure that resonates, for you in the work you do. Don't just show me the Texas flag.
That's right. That's right.
Make sure you're embedded with the community. Make sure you're finding, suppliers and companies that are from here and make great products.
100%.
Great example so local being an example. So we have local specialists now in both regions that focus on both fresh and center store. So I was talking to our local specialist for center store yesterday, and he said, I found a beef tallow company. And, he said, we don't carry beef tallow at all today.
Wow.
You've probably heard a lot about beef tallow.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of beef is produced, in the state of Texas. So there's a lot of secondary use for tallow. And he's like, got it on the shelf. We've sold, X amount of units already, and we haven't really done much with it yet. And we're excited to.
Just got playing around.
Yeah. Excited to elevate that.
Wow.
And we'll have probably 100 examples in 6 months.
Sure.
Because the really right now we're in kind of the incubator stage, and it just goes, right? So that's exciting for us. Also multicultural. So we talked about the idea of Asian growth. We have people against that effort that are out there sourcing to some degree from across the globe. And a lot of that is complicated, right? It's shipping containers coming across the Pacific and timing, and it's cotton customs and all the things. But if you're willing to do that, you can find, unique different brands that resonate and are like nothing else you'll really be able to find from, say, a domestic supplier. So those would be 2 examples. And so really what we said from the beginning was we'll have a campus here in North Texas in Capel, and we'll have a campus in Houston in the Woodlands, and we'll have talent in both places. We'll have leaders and executives in both places. And then there'll be a subset of people that do go between, right? I have a good sized team that goes back and forth and experiences both. But ultimately, the operators are in place, right? The folks that have to be in stores, they are local. And we're not changing that, because in our business, it's really about getting your feet in the store, experiencing what customers are experiencing, and then rapidly, kind of addressing, opportunity, elevating the things that are going well. So, I would say we're 6 months in, and we're happy. Build, use it, fix it. We're happy. Yeah. We're happy with some things, and there are some things that we know we can be much better at and much more efficient with. Yeah. But the team, what I'm proud of is the team has put their thoughts and egos aside. They've listened more than they've spoken. They're listening, I think, really well. And we're evolving, we're changing, and we're going to be better off for it, I think, for the next 10 to 15, 20 years. Yeah.
Wow. And I think, one of my next questions would have been, what are some current wins and what are some current challenges that you're facing? This Texas expansion or consolidation that you addressed kind of speaks to that. This is a huge win overall with the locality of it and what's happening, but then also presents some challenges. Kind of to your earlier point, and simplify. Like, this is about not duplicating efforts and not making things, Texas is its own monster. Let's treat it as one big opportunity and then simplify that growth. That's huge.
For us, it's not hard to be humbled in our industry.
Yeah.
When you look around at the competitive set, there's a lot of great retailers. So we talk a lot about being humble and hungry. And part of that is, frankly, just being disciplined to ensure you're clear on what's important to you and your customer. And it really has to ground in that. Like, what is your customer saying about you today? And then how do you need to adjust your business process to ensure you're serving them and you're addressing those things they're not seeing from you? So to do that, you have to be disciplined and you have to be in your own lane, right? Yeah. You can't be admiring the shiny penny. You have to be clear on who you are as Kroger and where you're really going to go in the future. So we admire, so there's challenges, right? There's challenges, growth challenges for sure. It's a very competitive environment, and we're fortunate to be part of that because it makes us better. But ultimately, we know we need to be the best Kroger for our customers and our associates.
Yeah. Speaking of best Kroger, so at the groundbreaking, we were recently out for the newest McKinney store way up north. You guys presented a big check to a local nonprofit. Can you talk about some of those efforts and how you kind of give back as a part of this expansion?
I think fundamentally our community approach starts in our stores, right? And when you think about, first of all, you employ, hopefully the vast majority of associates you employ are from that community, right? Yeah. So they're cut from that cloth, and they're now they have great jobs, and they're making a great wage, and they're contributing to the economy of that town. Beyond that, our leaders, the expectation of our leaders is that they're engaging, right? They're engaging with the community. They're finding ways to help solve food insecurity. They're also running a business that's solving that problem, right? I mean, a byproduct of what we do in grocery is there's waste, right? For us to look abundant in produce or in bakery generates waste. You try to minimize that waste, but ultimately there's waste. Yeah. And so our zero hunger, zero waste strategy really at store level is very much a blocking and tackling fundamental, right? We every day have thousands of pounds of unbelievably nutritious product that is diverted to a great source. Yeah. And our leaders are the ones that make that happen. Our associates are the ones that make that happen. They're caring for that product and ensuring it gets to the right source. And it's often someone pulling up to get to a soup kitchen or maybe even a bigger source, like someone that's actually solving food insecurity at a more macro level. Right? Yeah. So our efforts there are all about our people. And we're really proud of that work, and we're going to continue to push hard on that work. We're lucky also to have incredible community leaders that are embedded in each division that partner with food banks in a more macro level, right? So our zero hunger, zero waste strategy comes to life through funding, right? Comes to life through board membership, comes to life through donations like you saw. Right. And it's all really going back to, we know 1 out of every 6 citizens of the state of Texas have some level of food insecurity. And we know that 1 out of every 5 children have that experience.
Yeah.
And, we feel it's our responsibility to help solve that problem.
Yeah.
And so we partner across the state of Texas in all the communities we operate in. That is our core, it's part of our core mission, is to really help end that hunger issue.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's a piece of that value prop at the beginning we talked about is this is another area we can directly add value to a community beyond just being a great grocery store retailer.
It's our expectation.
Yeah,
100%.
That's huge. I love that. I love, again, what you guys are doing here in our community. Glad you're here. I know a lot of our viewers, listeners shop at and enjoy Kroger. And this has just been a great conversation. I want to kind of land the plane and just ask you some quick rapid fire, get to know you a little bit. Yeah. Maybe you talk about being a foodie, so I want to dig into that. Yeah. These will be just like quick. Let's land it on more of a lighthearted, kind of just fast paced thing. And I want to know, as a foodie, best meal you've ever eaten.
So I'm from Westbrook, Maine, which is the town next to Portland, Maine. I've never been to Portland, Maine.
I've never been to Maine.
So Portland, Maine's known for seafood.
Yeah.
Portland, Maine is the biggest, most populated city and has a big port, obviously.
Okay.
And so I grew up on seafood. Like, I could tell you stories about my grandfather coming home with trash bags of lobsters like that. It was kind of that's how available it was.
Yeah.
But there's a restaurant, if you ever go to Portland, Maine, check out Scales. So Scales is this kind of high-end retro seafood restaurant. So it kind of feels like it's been there forever, but it really hasn't. Great kind of chefs and really inventive menu. And they have a scallop dish there. It's kind of what you'd expect: seared scallops, beautiful bacon and all the things. And then the side I would recommend is brown bread. Have you ever heard of brown bread?
So just from Cheesecake Factory, is it like just like a brown whole grain bread? It's not pumpernickel.
No. So brown bread, I know what you're talking about. So brown bread is very New England. Brown bread is actually cooked in can.
Okay.
And so it's like a molasses cornmeal.
Yeah, kind of sticky.
Like concoction.
Yeah.
Sticky, heavy, dense. And so they do a version of it that's also like seared on the outside. So you get like a crunch. Man. So you get the molasses, the sweet, the salty, the crunch. It's special. Okay. And I grew up on brown bread, but very like commercial brown bread. My grandfather worked for a company called J.J. Nisson's. And they made brown bread in the can. Still something you can buy, which is very cool.
Yeah.
So that's, I would say, like, I could go further, but that's probably like the pinnacle of the seafood experience.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever had any guest 25 episodes in talk about their best meal, including canned brown bread, but I love it.
It's very new.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me let's actually piggyback on that question. Do you have a favorite Private Selection or Simple Truth item from Kroger that you personally enjoy?
Our Simple Truth snacks are incredible. So we'll buy, the pretzel line.
Yeah.
It's something that we enjoy. Our kids they snack a lot.
Yeah.
We try to kind of go towards that more, healthy angle of a healthy snack.
I hear you.
So tortilla chips and snacks, so the salty,
kind
of snacking end of Simple Truth. But there's a wide range there.
Yeah.
We do tend to be on the Simple Truth side of things.
Were you ever the same way? If you're going to snack all the time, may as well snack clean. Like,
kids
are just bottomless pit, So what was your first job?
My first job actually goes back to being a foodie. So I love to cook, and I probably would have been a chef had I not played football in college. That probably would have been where I ended up. But my first job was actually as a dishwasher / prep cook. So I spent, the first 2 years of like real work in a kitchen, digging through dishes and peeling potatoes.
Yeah.
And, loved every second of it.
Okay.
I love the interaction with the staff, the line cook, I try to help across the line and just be as engaged as I could. But I kind of fell in love with cooking even deeper. Kind of grew up in the TV chef like world, so I remember watching like Emerald.
Bam. Yeah.
All the way through and still do, but like got to actually, wow, this is a real kitchen. And, just love that.
Got a great energy in restaurants too. That's a great
hard job also.
Great for
my dad worked in food service for 40 years. He was like, don't
do it.
Don't do that to
yourself. Well, it worked out for you. So that's awesome. Tell me about what time of day are you most productive?
Morning for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm early. And the thing about Texas school systems, like my little kids get up at my 9 and 7-year-old have a 6:25 bus call.
Oof.
So I'm a 4:45 wake up, get my workout in, and then get them on the bus, and then that's definitely my most productive time frame of the day. As the day goes on, like you probably get into activities, and then it's just like, can we get these kids to bed?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. No, there ain't no emails coming in at 5 a.m. So you can just kind of dial in on whatever you need to work on.
A lot of good think time too.
Yeah. That's so
also
good.
car rides. I I either fly when I go back and forth to Houston. I either fly or drive, obviously, and I find in both scenarios, I get a lot of calls caught up on, and two, I do a lot of my best like reflection,
deep thinking,
So any day part there if I'm traveling.
That's huge. I'm the same way. Morning just clicks better. That's why we scheduled this interview for the morning. So you're stuck on a desert island. You could take 3 movies. What are they?
So 80s, 90s, baby. I would start with Rocky.
Okay.
I would say I kind of end at 4. I would say 4 is my favorite.
Yeah, anything after 4 doesn't count.
My middle brother would argue against that. He's a huge Stallone guy, but I'm kind of, I'd be in on Rocky, and it's fun having kids. You start to expose your kids to all of that. I'm a huge Denzel guy, so I love Training Day. It's probably like my favorite Denzel movie. It's a great movie. And then a throwback, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is one. It's cool to be able to like experience movies through your kids
for their first time.
The original, I think, still stands on its own, but the most recent Chalamet movie was actually, I thought, a pretty good rendition. But I still love the original.
No, it's
like dark and it's the whole thing.
Yeah. My kids love all of them, but they did like the new one, and it's like there's no change in the original. It still stands apart. So I grew up near Philadelphia, and I would go to Thanksgiving at my aunt's house. She lived downtown Philadelphia, and after turkey we would run the Rocky steps and do the whole like at the art museum, so I love the Rocky movies, and they actually had to relocate. They have a statue of him there. They put it at the front of the museum. They actually moved it to the behind of the museum because so many people would come not to go to the art museum but to go see the Rocky statue. So they put it away. They're like, no, you're not here for the statue. You're here for the museum. You got to go look for the statue. Fun fact. Anyway, okay. So same question, but with books. Desert Island, you can only take 3.
So I'm a nonfiction guy.
Okay.
And going back to Kitchen Confidential, like rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. Just love Bourdain. But that to me was kind of such a fun, kind of view of, but also dark view of like what the dynamic is in the kitchen, and kind of the wilder side. I don't think I really appreciated that or understood it until I watched that. And then I would say I kind of get into this like adventure leadership genre. So your River of Doubt and Endurance are 2 books that I just absolutely love, and they're both kind of centered in like tragic scenarios that required leadership to get you out of them, right? It was a kind of self-imposed adventure journey that these 2 leaders were taking large groups of people on, that they had to then find a way to, in pretty catastrophic set of scenarios. So it just, for me, it was, you get in, not obviously with such dire, kind of potential outcomes, but you get into some, difficult scenarios as leaders. It's like, stand back, take a breath, relax. Like, how do we kind of manage our way through this? So I don't know if it's the best, like if I was deserving.
It's a little too close to home.
I'm a totally nonfiction guy.
Yeah, you're the second person recently to recommend Endurance to me.
Really?
So I think I need to pick that one up.
It's a great read. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, if you could spend an hour with anyone, living or dead, real or fictional, who would it be?
You know what? My maternal grandmother, my mom's mom passed when I was little. And so, knowing my mom, knowing my aunt, and knowing my grandmother's sisters, I would have loved to have spent some time with her.
Kind of revisit where it all started.
Yeah.
Your family.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
huge.
Yeah.
Let's land it here. If you weren't doing this job with Kroger Texas and what you're doing now, where would you mentioned earlier, maybe a chef, or, what would you be doing if it wasn't this?
I'd probably be in a kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably would be. And probably be super happy to. Yeah. Too. Yeah. Or coaching. I love to coach.
Okay.
Coaching youth. I coach today, youth football. Which is an adventure. I love it. And I probably maybe do both, coaching somewhere and working in the kitchen somewhere. Kind of my 2 big passions.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, Rudy, man, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you wanted to maybe, that we've left unsaid that you'd love to cover about what you're doing with Kroger and McKinney, this region, anything like that?
First of all, appreciate the opportunity.
Yes.
A lot of fun. I just, if you haven't tried Kroger, give us a chance.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot to offer. And I would say, going back to convenience, if you haven't shopped us from a delivery standpoint, try it through any of those potential paths I mentioned: Instacart, DoorDash. We have Kroger delivery. Kroger.com delivery is available in this area, which is very very unique.
I see those blue trucks all over. Yeah.
Everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And we're coming this way, and we should give us a try. A Boost membership, much like Amazon Prime, will give you free delivery, which
cool.
It's very affordable if you do the math on it based on how frequent you would order.
Yeah.
Pickup we have some of the, in my opinion, being around the industry, we have the best kind of pickup dynamic in terms of when you pull up, we'll be out there within a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And it's accurate. Our perfect order numbers are incredible.
Wow.
And the portfolio of what's available to you in a brick and mortar store is amazing. So if you're time starved, give us a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I would also just go back to everyone has some degree of budget they're operating with.
Yeah.
And with fuel where it is right now, when you shop at Kroger, you earn, when I fill up my truck, which has like say 30 gallons, I'm saving $30 plus every time I fill up.
Yeah. Nowadays, that's a big deal right now.
Yeah. It's a little bit of like that. We need to tell that story more clearly, but if you haven't tried that and you haven't, just tested being really loyal to us and see the value it gets you at the pump, I would just really encourage folks to try that. I think it can help you with your budget. And also we just have great people. But just go back to that. Our store associates really care. And I get to meet them. And often the story I get is told by a customer. Do you know Johnny? Do you know how great he is? I come here for him. I go to his line. I come here. I drive by other retailers to be here because of him or her. And it's, you don't find that everywhere in the industry. So we're incredibly fortunate to have the dedicated leaders we have and the great associates. And I just say, if you haven't tried us, give us a chance. If you do shop us regularly, thank you. Because we couldn't do it without you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, McKinney's glad y'all are here. And this is just a great, great opportunity for Collin County and for us to lock arms with what you guys are doing in this community beyond just being a great retailer is amazing. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode as much as I did. And if you're interested, I'll put links to all the ways you can engage with Kroger in the description of this episode. And like always, follow, subscribe for more great dynamic leadership content and keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on here in McKinney with McKinney Momentum. Thanks a lot.